You're listening to The Practice of a Hoodoo Baptist, my personal journey of root work, faith, and ancestral wisdom. This is where I honor the ones who came before me and share what's been passed down and walk you through my experiences of being unapologetically aligned, covered by spirit, guided by blood. For any listeners out there that may not know, alongside of running my organization, working in the nonprofit sector, being a philanthropist, I am also a certified full spectrum doula. I got into doula work honestly after being inspired by many individuals in the space through working with different doulas and midwives and OBGYNs, all kinds of activists within the women's reproductive space. Um, Trans rights and activists, like so many people I met within the space inspired me to really look into just tapping more into my education. And through running my organization and doing the work, I really got the call personally to become a doula, so I can, I really felt like by becoming a doula, I would be a better philanthropist. I'll be a better human. I'll be a better Black woman. I'll be a better service to people, my community. And I think from meeting new or just meeting new folks within the space, through working with my organization, and also a few personal experiences also inspired me to become a doula. One of those experiences was the death of a family member, where I was there for a family member through their last, during some of their last weeks of life. And that opened my eyes to the really deep and necessary work of death doulas. And that just kind of gave me a different perspective, because when people think of doula or they hear doula, I think most people just literally only think about birth, or midwives. I think a lot of people don't even know the difference between a doula and a midwife. But like witnessing a family member pass away was very eye-opening for me, and that definitely like solidified my decision into going into doula work and actually diving all the way in the work. And that's why I decided to do the full spectrum route. The work I do as a doula isn't separate from practice. It is my spiritual practice. Shout out to all my doulas out there. Y'all are doing the work. We are doing the ancestral work. We are breaking generational curses. We are helping people thrive in their lives and manage their bodies, their fertility, their pregnancy, transition into or from out of miscarriages and or abortion and even death. Like, I see y'all, so shout out to all of my doulas out there. Birth, death, blood, spirit, the cycles of life. This is where root work lives. And when I say blood, I literally mean blood. And I know there's some folks out there that may know me also as the period doula, because that is definitely my specialty. Working in the menstrual equity space, teaching the youth about menstruation, helping young girls and trans individuals and gender expansive folks understand what's going on with their body when they're going through puberty, when they're going through their first period, menarche, managing their period, and some of them even transitioning into a new growing up, and this new body, this new lifestyle, new phase and stage of their life. It's, yeah, that really was kind of like a natural calling for me. So yes, I am the period doula. And like I said, yeah, birth, death, blood, spirit, like all of it is the cycle, part of the cycle of life. When I serve, when I guide, when I hold space, I am always practicing hoodoo. I'm practicing protection, preparation, advocacy, okay, and power. I am continuing the work of my grandmothers, my great grandmothers, my great 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 grandmothers, and so on and so forth. Like, I'm sure they all did it in their own way and in their own time, and that's what I'm here to do. Doulas hold space for sacred transitions like birth, postpartum, menstruation, loss, and healing. These are all spiritual thresholds, and hoodoo works at that threshold, which is why I'm a firm believer that doulas are root workers. No shit. Like, completely. Doulas are root workers. Birth is not just physical, it is a spiritual movement. And I don't need to be someone who has given birth to say that. Um, and I also believe that the womb carries bloodlines, it carries spirits, it carries ancestors. Like, it's such deep work, and it's serious work for sure. And it requires a lot of protection. Like, I mean, it's like, who heals the healer? You know what I'm saying? Like, doulas take care of a lot of folks. I'm going to talk a little bit about granny midwives too, and doulas who have passed on, who are now ancestors. Um, but if we talk about like protection work within doula practice, I can give like a couple examples, like, because yeah, like doulas, we're advocating for other people. We are servicing and providing other people. We're providing resources, and we also need um, our own protection. Like, we have to clean and clear our energy, our minds. It's more than just washing our hands and changing our clothes, and like, it's yeah, like, it's definitely necessary for us to always consider ourselves, always make sure we're not forgetting about ourselves, about our mental health, about our protection. So we have to do a lot of cleansing and clearing examples, like spiritual baths. Spiritual baths are necessary for clearing before and after sessions. If it's a physical session, you know what I'm saying, like a doctor's appointment, um, or preparation of new baby, or even just sessions where it may just be a consultation where you're just talking to someone, right? Spiritual baths are so necessary. Anointing oils are great for protection and grounding. um yeah, because I mean, we're not perfect. We're not always the strong friend, and we're human. We are human. We are in community. We are doing community work. We are servicing and providing to our community. So yeah, we have to honor ourselves when it comes to, like, for our protection, our grounding. And we are prayers. Like for me personally, I like to pray for both myself and the birthing person, or both myself and the new dad, the new father that may be nervous. I'm also praying for a client I may have who suspects that they have fibroids, who suspects that they have infertility issues, praying for their mind, praying for their mental health. And on top of that, praying for myself and, you know, saying a prayer for us to all come together and work as work with God as a source for healing and answers. Setting spiritual boundaries, that's a biggie. I also like to clear out and pray before I walk into hospital settings. Any type of healthcare setting, to be honest with you. I don't care if I'm going to the dentist, personally, or a hospital or a clinic. If I'm meeting with someone and they want me to go with them to their OBGYN appointment, which I have done before as a period doula. Someone is saying, doesn't feel comfortable going to their OBGYN or to their doctor's visit by themselves, and there's nobody else to go with them and they want me to go with them. Yeah, that's something that I do. Even if it's like a whether it's virtual or in person, like, yeah, like that's, that's, to me, that's necessary. That's nothing silly at all. So seeking spiritual boundaries before entering a hospital or a birthing space or, birth center, or, any space makes a whole lot of sense to me. And I think it's, really important for folks to understand, like, even when you have a doctor's appointment and you may feel a bit nervous about going by yourself, just always remember that you're never by yourself. Like, you have ancestors with you. God is with you. You have, you have support. You know, carry your ancestors with you as your protection. That's what I do. They're with me. They're my protection. Root work is doula work is protection. A lot of people don't know or may not understand that Black women have always been birth workers. Black women have always been midwives and healers, doulas. Like, that's us. 1,000% us. Enslaved Black women deliver babies, white babies, Black babies, indigenous babies, using both their hands and their spiritual knowledge. My doula practice definitely honors that lineage of care. I understand I'm not doing no new shit. I'm not doing nothing new. I'm continuing what my ancestors always did, caring for their body, caring for other bodies and spirits with discernment, through prayer, through protection, herbs, um, through knowledge of different plants and herbs as medicine. Like, none of this is new. None of it is, and also I want to point out, none of this is demonic, because too many people like to try to make it like doing what your ancestors did, as far as like having certain prayers for protection, having your anointing oils, taking your spiritual baths, growing your own food, growing your own plants and herbs and praying over them. None of that is demonic. Like, so don't let nobody tell you that. Please don't. Like, all of that is beautiful. These are all gifts. Okay, our ancestors had these gifts. Your mama has these gifts. Your grandmama, your great grandmother. Like, these things have been passed down to you, just like they've been passed down to me, for sure. So you don't have to compartmentalize your gifts. You do not have to compartmentalize your gifts. Being a doula definitely allows you to, to like hold space and make way for all of your gifts. You being if you're a good listener, okay, that's a requirement in this space, okay? Being a good, holding space and holding space for someone, for them to feel all their feels, and just being there for them, creating a safe space, and also being a resource, providing resources to them, whether that's giving folks books to read, articles to check out, podcasts to listen to, audiobooks to listen to, directories to check out, doula directories, midwife directories, Black female OBGYN directories. Like, these things exist. These things can truly help somebody. It can help them ease their mind, you know, kill some of that anxiety, dead some of that stress. Okay. I do want to take some time to actually honor some doulas who are now ancestors. Because, like I said, like, this work is nothing new. Black women have, we've been here. We've been doing it. We've been birth workers, we've been midwives, we've been doulas and healers and teachers. We've been holding down our communities. And I want to honor a few ancestors, not my personal ancestors through like lineage, but I definitely want to mention a few Black women who are ancestors and who were midwives. Some of them were granny midwives, and doulas who also were within this practice and providing this care, this specific type of nurturing care to their communities. The first name is Ani Lee Logan, born in 1910, passed in 1995. Ani Lee Logan was born in Marengo County, Alabama, and she became a midwife in her early 20s. Beautiful thing about Ani Lee Logan, was born in the exact same county that my great grandmother was born. A lot of Black folks, if you are listening, if you are from any southern part of Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, specifically though, like, or up the country, Watley, on up, anything below Montgomery, Marengo County, like, if you're looking through your ancestor, your family records to check out like where some of your ancestors might have been born. Marengo County, Alabama is a really big county, and a lot of our folks who, if you are from Alabama, a lot of your family members may not necessarily have like a city on their birth certificate or their death certificate if they were born in the early 1900s or even the late 1800s. It would just say Marengo County. I think that's very interesting. And another term when it comes to Miss Logan, she was called a lay midwife. Or you could say granny midwife or lay midwife. But these women, lay midwives, they practice midwifery pretty much without a license because they didn't need one. When we were forced to just deliver babies, doctors delivering babies. There were no nurses, there were no OBGYNs delivering babies. Like, they just made us deliver babies, and it was just about catching the baby. And then we became lay midwives, and we were the ones going from, house to house, pretty much just delivering babies. So while lay midwives actually were banned in Alabama in 1976, Mrs. Logan, she got ended up getting married. She practiced being a midwife until 1984. And according to her obituary, that's actually in the New York Times, she delivered virtually every child born between 1931 to 1984 in the predominantly black suburb of Pritchard, Alabama, which is a trip. So if like I said, if you're from Pritchard, Mobile, or most likely, cities below Montgomery, like southern Alabama, Tuskegee, all that. Listen, Marengo County, if any of your folks was from Marengo County or born that, more than likely, Annie Lee Logan delivered some of your people. Babies born in predominantly black suburb of Pritchard from 1931 to 1984, Annie Lee Logan was catching those babies. Beautiful, right? The next name I'm going to talk about is Miss Margaret Charles Smith. Margaret Charles Smith her license to practice midwifery in 1949, even though she had been delivering children decades before. She has a really cool story because before she passed, because she actually passed in 2004. She was born in 1906 and passed away in 2004. Beautiful, beautiful, like long life. But yeah, like she did an interview and she said that she was 5 years old when she caught her first baby. And she had been delivering babies her entire life. From 1906, when she was born, 2004, and she caught her first baby when she was 5. Amazing. I believe that for sure. Biddy Mason. Biddy Mason was actually born in 1818 and passed away in 1891. But in 1872, her name was Bridget. So Bridget Biddy Mason, she founded the first African Methodist Episcopal Church in LA. She's also known as one of the first black real estate moguls in the city. If you live in LA or you're downtown LA, there's actually a statue of Biddy Mason downtown in LA. She was born into slavery in the American South. She actually learned midwifery from other women on the plantation. Like I said, like our ancestors were just delivering babies, delivering each other, teaching each other. But she learned midwifery from other women on the plantation when she was a teenager. But eventually the family that enslaved her moved here, where she actually petitioned for her freedom, and she won in 1856. And by the time 1872 came around, that's when she founded the church and actually got into real estate. Listen, greatness. Moving on to Mary Colley. Mary Frances Colley, well, better known as Miss Mary, she was another great midwife that cared for mothers and their babies in the rural South. She actually, according to reports, and there's a couple of books that mention her, she was trained in midwifery. She was trained by Annie Lee Logan, and she spent a little over 3 decades as a midwife and delivered over 3,000 babies. 3,000 babies. It's crazy. But she did it. Mary Colley was born in 1900 and she passed away in 1966. Moving on to Miss Gladys Milton. Miss Gladys Milton was born in 1924 and she passed in 1999. But during her time as a midwife, Gladys Milton delivered about 3,000 babies as well in the state of Florida. She received her license to practice midwifery in 1959. But in the early part of her career, she provided care for mothers in their homes. But in 1976, she founded what is now known as the Milton Memorial Birth Center. Okay? Yes. We've been doing this, and I love to see, like, before I get to the last person, I love to see how we're getting back into this practice. Like, I see more and more Black women, especially here in the States, I see more and more Black women coming together through with foundations or creating their own nonprofits and actually like founding their own birth centers. We need more birth centers for sure. So I love that. The last name is Maud Collin, or maybe it's Callan, Maud Callan. Born in 1898, passed in 1990. Callan, she served as a nurse midwife in the Low Country of South Carolina for more than 60 years. She trained young Black women as midwives and taught them about prenatal care, labor support, delivery, and newborn babies. She opened the Maud E. Callan Clinic in 1953, which she ran until she retired in 1971. And my apologies if I'm mispronouncing the name. I'm not sure if it's Colin or Callan. But that's amazing. Light, peace, and progress to the guides, spirits, and protections of Ani Lee Logan Ibaye. Light, peace, progress to the guides and spirits and protections of Margaret Charles Smith, Betty Mason Ibaye, Mary Colin Ibaye, Gladys Milton Ibaye, Maud Colin Ibaye. May they all rest in peace. May we give them thanks for the work that they did, what the work that they put in. You've been listening to The Practice of a Hoodoo Baptist. This is my altar, my process, my truth, where I honor those who came before me and speak what was once kept in silence, covered by spirit, guided by blood. Until next time, peace and love.